Yeah.
I wasn't looking at the countdown. I was I looked up really quick. As soon as I hit go live, I was like, oh wait, I should probably check and see if Ron loaded the videos. And it covers my screen. And then I looked up and you're sitting there. So I think we're live. Hi everybody.
We are live. We are live. Yes.
We are. Okay. All right. How are you?
Hey, good. Happy birthday to your brother.
Yeah, it's G Money's birthday. 51.
Wow, really?
Yeah. You'd never know.
No.
He's
seems so much younger now.
huh?
That I'm older, that just seems so much younger.
I know. It only gets worse. Like I said, the reality is 30 is old. 27 is like the last age I remember. And I remember this when I was 27.
Yeah.
These fucking glasses suck. 27 was like when I went from 26 to 27, I was like, yeah, it's over. And so it's all downhill from here. That's you're fucking old. You're on the other side of that hill of like your 20s when it matters. Now I raged all through my 30s and shit like that. But once you start, it's basically all the same. Barbie Live. Hi, twice in one day, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at you, dude. You're hilarious. You don't even tell me. You're just like,
didn't even tell you.
Fucking guy. I don't need this guy.
I posted it on the fan page. You're a fan in that group, aren't you?
That's how I know. I get notifications. I don't know why. Sometimes I get notifications for things. Sometimes I don't. Probably because it's actively like going live that you're doing that. I don't know. And I was just like, wait a minute. Is this sending me a notification from 2 days ago? What is this? I will have
you know that I had like, when I ended that brief 25-minute thing I did today, I had like over 700 people watching.
It's hilarious.
I was like, what the fuck's going on? It's crazy.
Hilarious. Yeah, no, I know. It's like, and there are certain people, that's why when you offend them, I get bummed because I'm like, who knows? Maybe they'll end up liking the show and hang around. These people that
don't want them. They're stupid.
These people that have no idea who I am or you are or anything, but whatever. And I figure it's Karen Reed today. Like you are who you are, dude. You're going to get attached to something else.
Yeah.
And people love it. Like the area we're from when it's the Lions. Yeah. You get attached to like, you're the same way. It's the same thing. Yeah. Like when you get involved in something, you like go all in. And so it's like Karen Reed today. Yeah. So how did it go today? I have some lead in for you.
No, I don't. That's offensive.
I know.
It's like actually offensive that you're going to use somebody else to give lead in. I just did a 2.5 hour podcast by myself. I don't fucking need lead in on Karen Reed. Okay.
I need the fucking lead in. I need to set the table for me, asshole, not you. I know you're a master.
Fine.
And understanding that the people listening are like, oh my God, she's about to go. Can you set the table again? And I'm not going to be like, so there was this guy in Boston, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, but just so key players, because I know how you are. And don't worry, everybody. She already did her thing. But this is just for me and those people that weren't watching earlier. I would appreciate a quick update and maybe some clarification on what happened and what you think about some of these things. There were 4 questions the jury posed to the judge, one Judge Beverly Cannon.
Cannoni.
You don't like Cannon, do you?
She is a see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, I've heard you say Cannon a few times, and for the longest time, I thought that was one of the attorneys.
Cannoni.
Cannoni.
Cannoni is the judge.
Okay.
Brennan is the
I feel like
prosecutor.
Those are good. I've had those before.
Yeah, that's a cannoli.
Close enough. It made me think of a cannoli. Cannoni.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, we're already learning stuff.
She sucks.
So the jury comes back and they're like, hi, I got a question. It's like, have you people not been sitting here for fucking weeks? What's the matter with you?
And the foreman of the jury, first of all, I just know he's wonderful. But the foreman of the jury is a black guy with dreads that wears like a big chain. So don't you just kind of envision the notes being like, and shit.
That would be awesome. Yes.
That would be so awesome. And I put this on X, but I feel like the next note that he sends is going to be Chris Tucker from Rush Hour, where he's like, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Well, it's funny. So the jury's like, yeah, there's like 4 questions we have. And this one, I was like, okay, I'm a literal dipshit, and you really, the 12, what is it, 9 jurors or 12?
12.
9? 12.
12.
The 12 jurors, I know there's some wacky ones, and I don't know how the Commonwealth does their thing. But anyways, you folks have all the evidence, remember, blah, blah, blah. Jurors also wanted to know if video clips from Reed's media interviews that were played during the trial are considered evidence.
I love it.
Are you shitting me?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it so much.
Like, okay, they were played during the trial.
Correct.
And so the 12 of you couldn't be like, yeah, that's probably evidence.
Well, correct. And what makes it even better is that that's really a big part of the Commonwealth's case were those clips. Like a big part of their case were those clips. So for the jury to come out and be like, hey, you know that whole thing that you based your case on, is that even evidence?
Yeah.
It's like so funny to me.
What does that tell you that you're dealing with, though?
Well, I think that
Hi, Kelly.
I think that what's happening clearly, because based on some of the other questions, is that and I went into this more in detail on the podcast I did by myself. It's 25 minutes long. You can go listen to it. But
26.
But there are, on the second charge of manslaughter, there are lesser included charges, and the least included, like the less of the lesser included, is just a flat out DUI. And all of their questions kind of included in their. Yes.
So how did they get to that? Because did they talk to her that night?
No.
So then how the hell did they get there?
Well, and one of the jury's questions was, are you guys charging her with a DUI at 12:45 or 5 a.m. when she was driving to go find him? Like, where are you charging her with the DUI? Because no, what they did was they took her blood in the hospital when she was sectioned because she was threatening to kill herself. So they took her blood, and then later on they did this extrapolation test and like did a math problem back to when she would have been driving to figure out what her BAC would have been. So they didn't even test her that night. They didn't talk to her that night.
They got to throw that out on its face.
Well, so clearly the jury, based on their other questions, they're hung on that, just the flat DUI charge. So clearly there's some jurors who think, yes, they proved that beyond a reasonable doubt. And their argument is probably like, she admitted it in the clips. She said that she was drunk and she was driving. So there's other jurors who are probably like, yeah, but how much weight are we even supposed to give those? And so I think that's kind of what the question was, like, are they evidence? And if so, how do we consider them? I think that, and they can consider them however if they can put as much weight in it as they want, and, it doesn't matter. So I think that's clearly what they're hung on, because the rest of their questions surrounded like, hey, if we can't decide this, which is the DUI, does that mean she's hung on these like murder charges? Because we're not trying to have that happen again.
Yeah. So it sounds like, so for clarification, let's see. The jury has been discussing the case for 3 days. There were 3 questions about the drunk driving charges, Reed's media interviews, and a verdict slip. The jury asked what the time frame was for operating under the influence charge against Reed. Specifically, they wanted to know whether 12:45 or 5 a.m. When she realized O'Keefe was missing. You folks have all the evidence, blah, blah, blah. Wait, I thought there was... what were the first ones? If we find not guilty on 2 charges, but can't agree on 1 charge, is it a hung jury on all 3 charges or just 1 charge? That tells me they're leaning towards not guilty on this whole murder thing you've been doing. Right. Like, that's a joke. Now, if I was in that jury room, and this is just me, I'd be like, what are we talking about here, folks? Right. This bitch has been hung up in this courtroom for 2 years. Right. Even if she was absolutely annihilated drunk, I think we've dealt with enough. Right. Do we really need to hang up? Like, I would be pounding the table on that. Like, really? What are we going to do now? Hit her with a $10,000 fine and 60 hours community service? Right. Are we going to suspend her driver's license? Like,
which she hasn't had, by the way, since 2022.
We're here on a murder charge. Like, for real.
Yeah.
All this other cute bullshit. Like, This is from someone 1,000 miles away who has paid almost zero attention.
Right.
If I was in that jury room, be like, folks, we are on trial 2 of murder charges.
Right.
You're talking about sending someone away for life on murder charges. Her personal reputation is already shit for half the people that are paying attention to this. What are we even talking about here?
Right. Yeah,
if you go not guilty on the murder charges, you just throw away the DUI bullshit.
Well, that's just it. Like, you sat there for 8 weeks and you're going to convict her of a misdemeanor DUI charge? Really? That's what you guys are going to do? And so that's why that tells me that they're hung on that, because there's probably some jurors in there that are very much saying what you're saying. Like, no, we're not doing this. And clearly they all know what happened last time, which was they found her not guilty on 1 and 3. They couldn't decide on 2, and they hung her on all the charges, and they redid them all. But what sucks is the DUI lesser included is under the general umbrella of the manslaughter charge. So even if they determine that if they can't reach a verdict just on DUI, that whole charge hangs. And so the Commonwealth can recharge her on manslaughter.
Shit. Okay, so that's
what's holding them up.
This is a no-brainer then. If you've come to the decision that we're going not guilty on murder charges, you have to throw that out. Otherwise, you're going to ring her on a technicality. I don't know. Look, I'm not a lawyer and you're not a lawyer, but how double jeopardy doesn't apply, you basically are at this point. But how double jeopardy doesn't apply on something like
jeopardy
this
at this point.
Yeah. What
really
would be triple jeopardy? And who knows what these people will do? Like, if you're willing to throw out the actual charges, what the real charges are, because you could make an argument. And I know from the time that T-Roy and I got pulled over in high school, coming from a high school graduation party, hammered, partied all night long at one party, and then had to go to our homes to get cleaned up to drunk drive to another graduation party the next afternoon, and got pulled over halfway between his house and my house off Inkster between 10 and 11 Mile in Farmington Hills. And the cops, this is pre-breathalyzer days. They knew we were fucked up, but they didn't know. And we were pros. Even in high school, we were professional drunks. And so they didn't know if Troy was drunk. They probably thought he was. They found empty. It was one of those like, fuck, we're getting pulled over. Pour it out under the seat. One of those. So we reeked like beer. We're half drunk still. We had a policy. You couldn't go to bed if there was still beer left in the keg. And so sometimes we had parties where there were only a handful of us. And so it was like, well, I guess we're going all night into tomorrow afternoon because there's still beer in the keg. And Troy lived by this policy. And so the next morning, people had slept for a few hours. Not Troy, still going, but we had to get home. So this is pre-Uber. The cop ended up calling my parents and Troy's dad. Couldn't get a hold of Troy's dad. Troy's dad was probably like, Farmington Hills Police, please, on the caller ID. My parents answered the phone. And I think I've told this story, but they ended up, my parents, it was at the end of our subdivision. So my parents came and picked us up, and they were like, drove us back to their house. And then the cop followed them there and was like, what are we going to do with these two? And my mom was like, well, they've been out all night and they've been drinking. The cop's like, I don't think so. My mom's like, yeah, test them. And we're like, shut the fuck up, Pat. And so the cop was like, yeah, I don't have a breathalyzer on me. And so my mom's like, I'll wait. I got nowhere to be. She was an asshole about it. And we're sucking on pennies, like anything that we'd heard. Like, you got any mustard? I think mustard. Like, dude, 19 years old, 18 years old idiots. And my mom made the cop go to the police station and get what was a breathalyzer at the time, and came back and made Troy blow and was just like, son, you have a real problem, and he put it together and was like, oh my God, you're like a raging alcoholic. You're fucking wasted and you're displaying like a sober person. Holy shit. And at the time, the guy was put between a rock and a hard place because he was like, yeah, since you came and picked him up from the car, there's nothing we can do. I don't have I can't remember the exact details. Shit, I almost wish Troy was here right now because he would remember exactly. But they didn't have him driving the car, and we had left the scene. The cop had let us leave the scene and get picked up by people.
Yeah.
And so that little bit of going a few blocks under the cop's supervision with my parents, my dad picking us up or my mom, whatever, was enough that it was like, yeah, that doesn't fly anymore.
Right, exactly.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that car doesn't move, but we can't. So, going a long way around for the Karen Reed thing, it's like, really? That was 3 years ago at this point. What are we even talking about?
And I think too, like, you have to also put some weight on the fact that, first of all, she was with all cops that night, all of which, by the way, drove drunk. One of them drove drunk back to the police station.
Right.
And Karen's cop boyfriend felt comfortable enough with her and her state to get in a car with her and drive with her over to 34 Fairview. So, and the thing is, they took her blood in the morning. And I don't know, no, who's to say that when she got home, she didn't drink more? You have no proof of what she was like when she was actually driving. So
I got home freaked out and had 8 shots.
Exactly.
Of vodka.
Yeah, I was pissed at him.
You have no idea.
Yeah, you have no idea. So, but what I was doing before we started this, I'm now making my way through all the Karen Reed is guilty people, and I'm listening to their live streams, and it's not going well over there. I mean, and I was just truthfully laughing my ass off. They're so upset. They're so bothered that Karen Reed is going to very likely walk free and possibly only be convicted of a DUI. They're so upset about it.
That seems petty as shit, honestly. No matter where you stand on this, no. I mean, in your favor, the DUI thing seems very, very petty. Was that thrown in as an afterthought, or was that always part of the?
Interestingly enough, the defense asked for it. And I think that their plan was twofold.
Get her on a DUI and dismiss the others?
Get her on a DUI, because I think some of the other jury, the first jury that they talked to, said, people wanted to convict her of something. They knew she was driving drunk. And I think Karen also said, I can't do this for a third time. I cannot go through a third murder trial. I can't, my lawyers can't work for free for another murder trial.
Yeah.
If they have to convict me of something, fine, convict me of a DUI. It's a misdemeanor. It's her first one. But also, I think that there's some strategy there, because I think that this is probably appealable because of what we've been talking about in terms of, they don't know what it was when she was driving. So I think they probably think, fine, convict her of it, but it's going to get overturned because they don't. And there was no time listed in the indictment. They don't even list a time she was driving in the indictment. So to convict her of a DUI, and then considering they probably think they have a pretty decent chance of that being overturned.
Yeah, they want to plead those things out. They do not want to go to trial on something like that. They will lose that in court on a trial. If you stick to that one, they want to churn that out and get you in the system. Maybe this one's got so much of a spotlight on it, just the nature of the case, that they would bother seeing that through. But my guess is I don't know, those get sticky. Cops don't like when, and prosecution teams don't like when you press it and want to, present your case in court.
Yeah.
It costs money, and the details, just the small amount of details I'm learning right now are I know things have been thrown out on way stronger evidence.
Right.
Way stronger evidence.
Right.
You need that stuff dialed in.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. So what was your thought when you first saw it today? Because I was like, ooh, the jury came back with questions and we're learning. Were you just like, I knew it, just based on the hint of what those questions were and what was revealed? Was it telling?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It revealed that they have determined that John was not hit by a car. That's what it sounds to me, that they're stuck on the DUI charge, but they want to make sure that, hey, if we don't come back with a verdict on a DUI charge, is she going to have to fucking go through this again? Because they all know this is trial number 2. So they know this happened again, or happened before. So, just to give an example of what a big cunt the fucking judge is, one of the questions said, if if we find her not guilty on 2 of the counts, but hang on the second count, does that mean a hung jury on all 3 counts? And because they put the word if in there, Judge Bev was like, this is a hypothetical question and I can't answer hypotheticals.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? You know what they're asking you, right, Judge Bev? Like, you know what they're asking you. But because they put the word if instead of, hey, we decided she's not guilty on 1 and 3, can we give you those verdicts?
So like what are 1 and 3 versus 2? I would think 1 and 2 would be the harshest and 3 would be the thrown in petty one.
So the first charge is second-degree murder. So it sounds like they've moved past that one, which is insane, by the way. Second-degree murder is crazy.
Yeah.
The second charge is manslaughter, but that manslaughter charge has lesser included offenses. So if you say, no, I don't think she's guilty on manslaughter, you keep going down until you get to the bottom charge, which is a standalone DUI charge. Then the third
Can we throw
charge,
in a jaywalking charge? Did she walk across the street to the neighbor's house before she got back in her car?
The third charge is leaving the scene of an accident causing death. But so the first and the third charge have to have components of like, you knew you did it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you would have to know that was the case.
Right. So it sounds like and this is what happened with the first jury. But the first jury didn't ask the question. So they just said, hey, we think we have to come to a verdict on all of them. So we're not going to give our verdict on 1 and 3, but we're hung on 2. They couldn't come to a decision on 2. So this jury essentially is saying the same thing. Like, hey, if we decide on 1 and 3, but we hang on 2, is that a mistrial on everything? Because, oh, by the way, Judge Bev, it's not a fucking hypothetical. It literally happened in the last trial.
Yeah.
So it's not a hypothetical. Like it literally
one of the
happened.
One of the jurors even said that, didn't he? Come out and say something like,
Ronnie.
Is that who that is? It was like, yeah, we'd really like an answer on this question.
Yeah.
Alluding to the fact that it was the same question the first crew
But
had.
the foreman in that trial said we can't ask that question. So they never even asked.
It really goes to tell you that even with a do-over in a trial, the facts that are there don't change, and you can't like, the way we presented the first time didn't work, so we're going to redo it and present it a different way. And it's like, yeah, but the baseline things are still the same,
right?
Which is why they have the same problems and the same questions.
Exactly. And you know why also the 1245 DUI charge is funny is because 1245 was the first theory in the first trial. Nowhere in this second trial she's connected to John's Wi-Fi at 1236. She's home by 1236. So nowhere she's not even driving at 1245. They allege that the accident happened at 1232. But the blood test they did was for 1245 because that was the theory in the first trial. So the jurors are probably like, what the fuck are they even saying happened here? That's probably why they were like, what time? Like, can you give us some guidance here on when she drove drunk?
Yeah, that's nuts. Well, that's going to be interesting. So it sounds like they're close to wrapping this up then.
Yeah, I think we'll have a verdict tomorrow. I think I'm going to take the whole day off.
I thought you were already doing that. I
took the afternoon off today. Because I really thought there was going to be a verdict tomorrow. I've got a call with my boss, but I'm going to ask him if we can reschedule it. I need to just be focused.
Wouldn't that be ironic? I swear to God, if you're in some meeting with your boss and the verdict comes in, I'll go live.
Mike, this is what I'm saying. My call is at 10 a.m. What if they come in first fucking thing, they fill out the verdict slip, and I'm on a call? When a trial I've been watching for 2 years comes to its conclusion. I simply cannot have that.
Yeah, that's like getting called into work when Championship Sunday's kicking off.
Yeah,
I mean, exactly. That's what that would be like.
Or going to a wedding during Michigan, Ohio State. Like, who the fuck wants to do that?
Yeah,
you know,
no, you have to cancel, and which is the correct move. By the way, if you get invited to a wedding and it's it's in season. It's the first thing you do is you check the schedule.
100%.
And if,
that's why we got married in August. We were not going to get married during football season. That was not even
Yeah.
on the that wasn't even a consideration
It's
because
so
I've
funny.
had to go to like weddings during Michigan Notre Dame and I was pissed.
It's yeah. We have our golf trip up north here in Sholo, Arizona, which is awesome because
You
it's
golf?
yeah, dude. Yes,
What?
I used to actually be pretty good.
Hmm.
Believe it or not, I had 2 birdies, like legit birdies in one round 2 weeks ago with G Money.
Wow.
Yeah, in the front 9, I had 2 legit birds, which is rare. No, I used to golf because I did the morning show, and so if we didn't have like a crazy day, I could get out of there at noon.
Yeah.
Like some days we were there later, but back in the early days, before we were kind of all fucked up and whatever, but in the early days, we were a pretty tight ship, and we do in a couple hours after the show, we'd bang our workout. And then the sales guys could always be like, oh, I got a meeting on the other side of the state. And so we'd sneak off, me and a couple sales guys, Tooch, Bobby, and we golfed 4 days a week, like all the time. Now I'm a sack of shit, so I barely get out. But yeah, but the point of bringing that up is Tooch comes to town here. He did it last year and the year before I came out here then. But we go up north and Buddy's got a place on a course here and a membership. And so he's got this amazing house and so we just go up there and just like the 3 of us hang out, live like kings. They no wives or anything like that. And we just go golfing for like 3 straight days. It's awesome.
Nice.
But
you leave your wife behind?
Yeah, I leave my wife, but you're my wife. You're my show wife. So I fucking ditch you for a few days. But it's awesome. But the first thing we do, even in August, because we go in August and we have there's like a big tournament in August. And then on October is just like the 3 of us go and get away. But that October one, the first thing we're doing is it's like, okay, what's Michigan's schedule? What's the Lions schedule? What's the Niners schedule? And God forbid the Tigers are doing something. And you do as much math as you can. And if you get into a point where it's like, we have to pick one, it's like, okay, now we have to then schedule golf around, okay, because I think one of them fell on like a Sunday night game. The Lions were playing on Sunday Night Football. It's like, okay, we're losing some time in the time difference. We've got to be off the course by X, and then back at the house with food ready to go for kickoff at 5:00 or whatever it is, So yeah, it drove me nuts. I would miss weddings, and birthday parties or something. It's like and I blame the man. Usually, I would blame you in your relationship, but I used to blame the man for like, dude, get control of your girl. What are you doing, letting her schedule your fucking wedding willy nilly in the fall? What's the matter with you?
It's so selfish. It's so selfish.
It's outrageous is what it is.
It really is.
Well, I'm glad. Is that the reason you were having a good day today? Because of
today was fucking great. Like we just got some insight into what was going on in there. And I think, generally to hear that, I think they've probably moved past the fact that John was hit with a vehicle is a pretty big win.
How did they get past all the broken shards of glass that cut his arm all up from the taillight?
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably the fact that they look like dog bites.
So what are your enemies saying? Are they're freaking out? You said.
They're not. They are not doing well. Not doing well at all. Just like,
so where are they putting blame? Is this Trump's fault?
They think there's a rogue juror that is a free Karen Reed plant.
We are in such a conspiracy world. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. And it's like, these jurors don't live under rocks. Okay, they know why this story is big. They know, they see the thousands of people that are in front of that courthouse waiting to hear a verdict. Like, they know that this is a big thing. Like this isn't just a couple of like rednecks who are like free Karen Reed. Like people are coming from like England to see this in person. Like it's literally worldwide.
And they know, those 12 people know that every one of those people is sitting there going, well, we're waiting.
Yeah.
Like on you. We're waiting on you.
By all means.
And that has got to be so weird. You want to know how celebrity feels? It's got to feel something like that. 100%. Where, because we all have that feeling like you feel like all eyes are on you. I did something silly. I did something stupid. I spilled something on myself. The whole place saw that. No, they didn't. Most people aren't paying any attention to you. They are when you're a celebrity. And it's like, that's kind of that. Like, there's thousands of people, and not just the hundreds outside the courtroom, but millions online with notifications on their phone waiting. We're waiting.
Yeah. And like, they are going to be 12 of the most sought after people. Just imagine that. You're just going through your normal life, you know, and you get picked for this fucking jury. This is literally my dream. I'm speaking this into existence, by the way. But you're just living your normal life. You get picked for this jury that you have to sit on for 8 weeks, and it changes your life completely. And now all of a sudden, every single person in the world wants to talk to you. They want to know what the fuck happened in there. But you know what?
Would you want to be on a sequestered jury or a home jury? See, I think the sequestered, as someone like, and I think you're like me, not crazy about leaving the house.
Yeah, I love being totally
fine being by myself. Like, if you could, where it's like, I'd love to be available to go to your whatever bullshit event that I'm going to fake like I care about. But I've been sequestered. Duty call.
It's crazy. I can't. Yeah. Don't text me because I don't have my phone.
I can't know anything. I have to go dark. It's just.
I mean, the hardest part for me would be going dark and like not going on social media and stuff. But I mean, are you kidding me? If they were like, hey, you can play Roller Coaster Tycoon when you get home from jury duty every day so you fall asleep, I'd be like, okay, fine, that's fine. I can do that. Yeah, exactly.
Like I have gotten pretty good of like, if you're at a decent, like the hotel we were at in Dallas. Yeah. It's like those ramen noodle bowls were pretty good. 4 minutes in the microwave in my room.
Yeah.
No problem with delivery service nowadays.
When you work for a large corporation, they pay you for jury duty. So, I mean, you're essentially on like this paid leave to be on this jury.
Yeah. I'm not even kidding. Wouldn't it be cool to be a professional juror where it's like, no, I live in the Hilton now and I just go trial to trial and I'm just, wouldn't that be fucking great amazing gig? Like I'm doing just for the duty of it.
Yeah, I understand how the system works. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to go just help people be jurors.
Yeah, they would not want you anywhere near it because you would immediately become the foreperson. You 100%, would. 100%.
No doubt about it.
Because you'd have to sort of be in charge. I'd want to stay in the weeds and then I'd be a real problem come later and I'd be poking holes through all their shit. But you'd be in the forefront. I really think you would. You'd want to be a forewoman.
There's no doubt. No doubt.
And your mouth would get you in trouble. You wouldn't. They'd try to boot you. One side would be thrilled to have you, and the other side wouldn't.
Yeah,
they'd see through you.
I will say though, I think I mentioned this before, but watching this whole thing play out, and also, I mean, I've watched other trials too, but if and when I'm called to a jury, I do think that I understand the process better. I understand the burden that the prosecution has, and of course, the vast majority of the time, they've got the evidence, right? Like it's pretty cut and dry. But in the instances where they don't, I think I've gotten past the, they're sitting there, so they must have done something wrong thing. You know what I mean? I've seen enough corruption to know, and Donald Trump too, watching what happened to him.
Yeah.
I feel like I've experienced enough to know that's not the case, and you've got to prove it to me. And if you prove it to me, then great. But if you then
I wonder when societally, because I bet that's true for most people now. Yeah. That the idea of, he's in here, he must have done something. Like that's kind of an old-fashioned thing. I don't think there are many people.
That's what the last Karen Reed jury said.
Seriously?
When Bowtie Ronnie gave his first interview, it was like 3 hours, and it was with Aiden. And he said a lot of the jurors who were stuck on guilty for manslaughter, their thought process was she was there, he was there, and she's sitting in that defense chair.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
which is terrifying.
It is. I got to think it was worse like in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Yeah. We're such a more connected, and we've seen so much more. And there's been so much more televised, whether it's through court TV I don't even know if that's still a thing, but there's just so much more the general public sees in these cases.
Yeah, for sure.
Women especially, I don't know what it is, but you guys are really attracted to these kind of true crime things.
Oh yeah. Big
You
time.
know,
Big
like,
time.
I don't know what that is and the difference in men and women, but I mean, that's like a thing.
It's a big time thing. It's a big
Yeah.
time thing. Yeah. Like if you were to look at my, you know, algorithm, you'd be like, she's a serial killer in the making.
Yeah. True.
You know?
Well,
and I'm hiring Alan Jackson if I do become that.
That's the attorney you want?
Yep.
All right. Fair enough. Moving on to other things, and as we await, and then we know at least it won't be today, maybe tomorrow. My guess is tomorrow. My guess is you'll get somewhere tomorrow. That was a big step today.
Yeah, I think
asking
so.
those questions.
Yeah.
So my guess is tomorrow will be your day, and I'm sure you'll have plenty to say. Have you seen the stuff going on with Iran? I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday. Israel, Iran, the MAGA universe breaking apart. Conflict between the two countries has dramatically fractured. These are just some of the stories I've been reading. The political forces that united to elect President Trump in 2024, rival factions of the MAGA movement are now openly feuding in an increasingly nasty civil war, questioning whether the president will make what they regard as the right move in the Middle East. Trump himself split with one of his advisors, Tulsi Gabbard. In March, Gabbard stated that the intelligence community had assessed Iran was not building a nuclear weapon. The IC continues to assess the Iran is not building a nuclear weapon. Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. That's what she said. He said today that I don't care what she said. I think they're very close to having one. What do you make of this? Do you think there's
admittedly, not super up to date on it. I've got other things going on in my life.
I understand that.
I did see, didn't they announce something that was like something crazy is going to go on tonight that's going to shock the world? Didn't they say that?
Who said that? I did hear something like that.
The Iranian state TV or whatever. They said, because I texted Travis and I said, Travis, just to reiterate, we come to your house, right? It says, Iranian state media, there is a surprise tonight that the world will remember for centuries.
Yeah, could be shit talking.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it is. But I mean, isn't this just one of those situations where Trump just needs to say my button's bigger than your button and my button works?
Yeah, there's so many people that were behind Trump. Like, one of the things you could brag about, because we took a lot of shit. A lot of us took a lot of shit. And there'll be further stories to, where you're stuck rolling your eyes about Donald Trump as a human being and a person. But one of the things you could always come back on, and people could be like, yeah, well, shut up. Like, that's the best thing. And it was no new wars.
Yeah.
Started under this president.
Right.
Trump has been a lot of things to a lot of people for a long time. And one of them is the dude is not in favor of war. He's not in favor of U.S. involvement in bullshit around the world. That's it's not like, oh, yeah, well, that's what he says now. Like, if you followed him at all, he's always been that guy. And so this seems to fly in the face of that. Like, we've heard, they're a week away from nuclear weapons. We've heard that argument for decades. Israel has wanted to go to war with Iran forever.
Yeah.
And so is this a case of Netanyahu getting Trump on board to go into some, because our thought is, yeah, these never work out the way you clowns say. We're $37 trillion in debt as a country. We know that there are neocons that want to feed the war machine. It's its own blob. It's what all those people are talking about. You're going to bankrupt this nation, and we don't want to do it. You claim, and they're doing it now. Mission accomplished, whether it's George Bush, mission accomplished. And then 20 years later and trillions of dollars in waste, it hasn't made us safer, hasn't made us more liked around the world. And that's the fear that people have. Like, God, you promised us none of this shit. None of this shit. I don't want any involvement. Oh, they're this close to a nuclear weapon? Maybe. Maybe. But you've lied so many times in the past that walked us into Afghanistan and Libya and Syria. And
the thing is, like, you know, we've got the oceans. We've got the ocean between us. And that's
we have the oceans.
Yeah. But I mean, that is a big advantage. And so to me, I've just always kind of been, that's a you problem. Like, that's a you problem. You know what I mean? And I don't know that I necessarily saw, you know, people running to our aid after 9/11. You know, like, weren't we just kind of on our own to figure that one out?
We got a handful of thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, right, exactly.
From around the world, not a whole lot of care packages.
Right, and I think, and yeah, you know, this goes.
Although Europe did help in our bombing stuff, I guess.
Right.
There was some military.
You know, I mean, I think you're right. This was a big part of, you know, Trump's not going to start any new wars. Now, that being said, listen, what the fuck do I know? I don't know jack shit about fuck other than Karen Reed. So I have to trust that the man that I voted for is assessing the situation properly. I voted for him to do that. I believe that he is. I believe he's involved with the decision making. It's not like a Joe Biden. Like, we know that the guy's actually fucking involved. So I have to at least put some faith in that. I mean, I voted for him because I do genuinely trust the decisions he's going to make. So, you know, I don't know. He obviously knows a lot more than any of us do about the situation and what's going on. So, but generally, I agree. I mean, like, nobody wants to be in some fucking random ass war again for in
the Middle East.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's constant. It's fucking constant.
Yeah, a lot of people are taking issue, like, you know, and I understand there's literally 50% of the country that is just dying for a reason to, you know, we see Trump derangement syndrome is something that'll be studied for generations, like the brain break that's happened. So those people think the worst. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to see Dave Smith going off like, I'm out of the Trump game, or Tucker Carlson coming hard at Donald Trump, or Steve Bannon, or you know, and these guys are more like probably you and I, skeptical and reserved, not willing to just jump in and be like, what the, you know, have a little faith, a little bit. One of the things that Trump has bragged about and talked about, and really has been his whole thing outside of marketing, is his negotiating ability. And when I give a red line, it's bright and I mean it. Okay. You had 60 days to negotiate, and on day 60, shit was launched from Israel. That happened. I mean what I say. I'm not Obama. Okay.
Right.
I like the fact that these people, because the accusation is the Trump people are in a cult. They're in a cult. Just put on my red hat.
So many cults.
I know. It's absurd. To me, being in a cult is, he's sharp as a tack. You should see him behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Oh, Kamala stands for joy and whatever bullshit thing. And like, yeah, hope and change, joy. Do you feel the joy? And then every one of them falls in line. Yes, sir. He's sharp as a tack. Like, though that seems way more cult-like than these people going, no, I don't agree with this. I'm not for this.
Yeah. What part of the cult do the leaders like Tucker Carlson and David Smith, what cult do you know where the leaders stand up to like the ultimate guy? It doesn't happen that often. So I think the fact that they're willing to, disagree with Trump on a pretty big issue just goes to show that we're not in a cult. We're not going to always agree with shit. And that's okay.
Right. I mean, do you remember any prominent leftist media outlet or podcast? There were some of them like going, no, there's no way he's sharp as a tack. I'm not going on air and saying that. No way. Russia collusion. Russia collusion's a joke. Okay, let's be honest. Of course the Hunter Biden laptop is real. Of course lockdowns weren't a good idea. I don't remember any of those. They fell in line like good little soldiers. Yeah. Sorry, you did.
They're in the cult. I mean, anything they accuse you of, they're guilty of themselves.
And I don't know about you, but I do this a lot. I try as best I can to understand how easy it is to be propagandized, to understand how easy it is to be led if you're listening to the wrong people and whatnot.
Says the cult leader.
Right. As a cult leader, I don't find myself marching in many cults, but I do find myself having internal conversations going, are you sure you're right about this? Are you sure you're not falling for something you shouldn't? I do look in the mirror as much as I can. And some people might be scoffing and laughing right now, but I really do try to question myself and go, are you sure you're right about this? I'm not afraid to listen to other people's opinions on stuff. And I would feel way more uncomfortable if this morning, everyone who I've listened to, whether it's Charlie Kirk or Dave Smith or Tucker Carlson, whose words haven't been poisoned to me, if all of them were in lockstep, if all of them were saying the exact same thing, I would have way more. That would be really troubling to me if they didn't have their own nuanced opinion of things. So I think I have a little bit of Tucker. I should have checked these. Yeah, here's what Tucker said on the War Room with Steve Bannon. I believe this was this morning.
I actually really love Trump. I think he's a deeply humane, kind person. And I am saying this because I'm really afraid that my country's going to be further weakened by this. I think we're going to see the end of American empire, obviously. Other nations would like to see that, and this is a perfect way to scuttle the USS America on the shoals of Iran. But it's also going to end, I believe, Trump's presidency and effectively end it. And so that's why I'm saying this.
What do you mean by that? That's coming from you.
Look, I knew Bush. I knew George W. Bush. We had, family connections to Bush. I knew Bush. Personally, I still see Bush sometimes. And, of course, he hates me, and he does because I criticized him on Iraq. And that war is the sum total, from a historical perspective, of his administration. But I knew him, and he had all kinds of plans for the things that he wanted to do. But once domestically, right, to improve the country.
Right.
And you may agree or disagree, but in his mind, he wasn't just about the invasion of Iraq in March of 2000.
Oh, no. He was going to redo Social Security. He had all types of. He was going to take care of the entitlements issue.
And he really thought it was going to work.
Yep.
And you could laugh at that or whatever, but the point is, the second you get enmeshed in a real war, not a fake, let's go bomb the villagers and declare success, though we don't even have a good track record. Why are the Houthis still there? There's a whole other question, which is how prepared is the U.S. military for a real conflict? And the answer is totally unprepared. Scary unprepared. I don't think people understand that. But anyway, the only reason I'm saying any of this is because I really, really care.
What? Oh,
why, Tucker? Why?
What the? I think it ended right there. Well, you get his point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I agree with him in that you can only do so much, your signature thing. If U.S. boots on the ground in Iran is a deal breaker. That's U.S. involvement on that level is no. You're done. If the United States gets involved in Iran, your stuff on the homeland of deportation, that, getting people out of this country that don't belong here, trying to get some of that back under control, that's over. You can't do both. You can't. So if you end up going down that road, that's what he means by ending a presidency.
Right.
Right. George Bush's started in January of 2001 and ended in September of 2001. That was everything, needle scratch on the record. It's over.
Yeah.
This is now the focus of the country. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be addressed. One of those, we need to put our seatbelt on and our breathing mask before we worry about our kid and everything else, like they say on a plane.
Yeah.
There's enough shit to deal with. I can hardly control LA, and we want to try controlling Tehran. Yeah. So I don't know. JD Vance came out and said He braced supporters of Trump for possible American military action in the conflict. I believe the president has earned some trust on this issue, and having seen this up close and personal, I can assure you that he is only interested in using the American military to accomplish American people's goals. He may decide he needs to take further action to end Iranian enrichment. That decision ultimately belongs to the president. Excuse me. Of course, people are right to be worried about foreign entanglements after the last 25 years of idiotic foreign policy. Yeah, that's what they're worried about.
Yeah.
And they know they were lied into a lot of those things. JD Vance isn't wrong, though. In my opinion, Trump has said enough and done enough at this point. He's made clear how he feels about U.S. involvement in entanglements around the world, that he'd much rather negotiate. And hopefully this is what this is. Hopefully this is a way, we're showing some cards. You saw what happened, what we're capable of. You can't go in the air, Iran, and defend your homeland at this point. Right. That's off the table. So you are a sitting duck. Now, thinking this is easy, that you're going to go into Iran, and this is like, this is a 3-day shit kicking going on. Yeah, tell that to Russia and Ukraine. Tell that to America and Afghanistan. Like, that's just not the way it works.
Right.
So don't think for a second. I don't believe that for a second. Like, there's such thing as an easy war. What's wrong?
I said not for a second.
Oh, I thought you were like, hold on. No, there's been a breaking development in Karen Reed.
Yeah, there's a verdict. Kidding.
She ordered food.
Yeah, right. She's making out with her attorney.
So when Trump says stuff like, he's urging unconditional surrender, we know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He's an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out. Kill. He said that. At least not for now, but we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. So, yeah, when he says stuff like that, after bombs have dropped around there and military leaders and scientists have been systemically taken out, removed from Earth.
Wasn't there a situation, am I making this up? I feel like maybe I don't know. You'll remember. Wasn't there a situation where Trump was with he was talking to someone and he was basically just like, you're not going to do this. Like, I know where your family's at, basically, type of thing. Didn't he do that?
Trump?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He did that
presidency?
He did it to Abu. He did it to the Al Qaeda leader.
Okay.
And he showed him a picture of his house.
Okay.
In a meeting.
Like I will melt your fucking clay hut so fast.
And he said, why are you showing me picture of my house? Trump's like, by the way, what's going on over there? Like, I get so excited.
Kelly stole my
do I need to send this to you?
No, Kelly has it. But I fucking knew when I set it down at the dance recital on last Friday, I knew when I set it down on the concession table, I was going to forget it. And then I was like, fuck. Kelly said she was going to keep it. So I've got to go
I'm missing.
Steal
it's
it back.
Being held hostage now.
It's being held hostage.
What are you drinking out of? Because it bums me out not seeing your beautiful TDC mug.
I'm bummed out too. I'm going to get it back from her. Don't worry.
Like, whenever I give someone something, I'm like, they hated that. They'll never use it. It's like, you use yours every day. It warms my heart. I'm like, she actually enjoys it.
I know. Well, it's been recovered, Mike. It is
Kelly's
in the
using
family.
it now.
It's in the family.
What are you drinking out of? What does it say?
Oh, they're just like hangover glasses, like cups from The Hangover. The movie The Hangover.
I stole a police car. That's great.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get it back though.
It sucks in Iran. I do believe they
yes, it does.
Well, I believe they want regime change. I do believe those stories that the majority, 60% of the people would like. But to me, I mean it when it's like, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. If it's worth fighting for, I see the pictures of Iran in the 70s and chicks in bikinis. It's got to suck to have this militant.
Did you though, Mike?
What?
Did you though?
No, but I see it. It's like, well, it's got to suck not having that. At least, I mean, that head to toe garbage bag thing they got going on sucks.
Yeah.
Like that. Talk about a repressive regime, whatever's going on there now. No offense to anybody that's digging.
Are they the ones that rented out the amusement park so the women could drive?
That was in, I want to say that was in Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
I think that was in Afghanistan. Yeah, where they rented out the amusement park and were driving the bumper cars. And the chicks were wearing jeans and t-shirts, and they had to close the park. They had to close the park so the ladies could practice driving in their bumper cars. That was the real story. And they had to put up sheets all the way around the bumper cars so that people couldn't look in and see the women.
Heaven forbid they see a neck.
Yeah, they see a neck. Can you imagine if you were so
and imagine driving a bumper car? Like that's what your impression of how a car drives is a fucking bumper car.
Yeah, because it's not even close. The overcorrection in a bumper car is absurd.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Imagine though the process of, if I'm trying to picture, if all I could see were your eyes and it's like you're just like, oh, I wonder there's so much where you're like, those lips could be a disaster. The nose could be a train wreck. The teeth, that famous Bugs Bunny where he's dressed up as the chick bunny.
Yeah, yep.
And then the veil comes down and the mouth is a shit show.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow, that would be tough. But so part of me is like I would have 25 years ago, 30 years ago when this kind of intervention stuff started, I remember being like, yeah, the people of Iraq or the people of Afghanistan deserve to be free. We're bringing freedom around the country.
Totally.
And I was on board for that attitude of yes,
they need us. They need us.
They're going to welcome us with open arms.
Without us?
They're going to welcome us. They're going to welcome freedom, and democracy. And it's like, yeah, that's not how that works out. None of it ever is.
It's not.
And it's like, just stay out of other people's business. Exactly. That being said, Iran has made clear, their death to America chants. They're not crazy about us. They're not crazy about the West.
But you know what? Yeah, they are. They fucking consume Western culture so much. They love the West secretly.
But if you've got a regime that is like, the second we get nuclear arms, we bomb the West. I don't want to see if there's any truth to that. But you see what happens in our country. What are the estimates? 8,000 people on the known terrorist list are currently in America. Yeah. And you look at what 19 were able to do in New York in September of 2001. 19. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen when you destabilize regions to the point that you have immigration? Look at Paris, France. Paris, France is not what it was in the 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a disaster over there. And 8,000 people on the terrorist watch list at a minimum. Let's say 10% of that is accurate.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of people that really hate the West, that your little ocean doesn't matter anymore. We had that protection.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But we've got extra protection because some of us live near Dearborn.
Yeah, I remember always saying that. Well, they're not gonna shit in their own house.
Exactly. They're not gonna nuclear bomb within 30 miles of Dearborn.
You just hope they're on your team.
Yes.
That correct. It wasn't all up front. Because there's an awful lot of this going on in Dearborn.
Yeah,
and
but still, they're not gonna nuclear bomb something that's gonna affect where they live.
Yeah. Well, I don't want them nuclear bombing anywhere.
Well, I know, but selfishly, I mean, it's not going to be here first. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've kind of had a different attitude of oh, thank God I'm 2,000 miles away from Dearborn.
Really?
Yeah. At times when it's like, I mean, if shit really popped off.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if shit really popped off, then it
whose
might
side
be
are you on?
correct.
Because they don't.
Yes. It might
The
get
writing,
a little crazy.
the writing on the buildings doesn't look to be in English, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
So I don't know how. I say that tongue in cheek. I went to school with a lot of those guys, and they're very American.
100%.
They're
and that's
families.
why I know. I say it tongue in cheek too. Obviously.
I didn't like the way they fought. I'll be honest with you, because I came from a background of like, hey, stay out of this. This is one-on-one.
Yeah.
You fought one of those dudes. You fought all their cousins.
All the cousins are rolling up, and they're meeting at their liquor store beforehand, and they're going to come beat the fuck out of you. So I mean, I've told this story. I went to Fordson's prom, and I was one of 2 blonde girls there. Like it was an experience, to say the least. But we just joke. It's just a joke you make when you live near Dearborn. That's all. But we love our Dearborn friends. Yeah,
I wonder if the rest of the country knows, like, Dearborn. Like,
or Hamtramck. Isn't Hamtramck
it was Polish, but it's
or what's the one that's completely, it's an all Muslim town now?
Oh, it might be what is the Polish town?
Yeah, I feel like it's Hamtramck.
It might be Hamtramck.
They have it's the first city in the United States to have a Muslim majority city council and a Muslim mayor.
Yep.
In Hamtramck.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
As long as shit stays cool and we're all proud to be American. That's the whole point of the immigration thing. It's better over here.
100%.
People leave you alone. They respect your religious choices. Yes. And you respect mine. I will respect yours. We can live along. And I think Dearborn has proven that absolutely can happen.
100%.
Seems a little more isolationist than other parts of the country. I got to be honest with you.
But you know what? Like you can.
They want to live like they fight together.
Well, you generally understand. I mean, and this was how it was with Chaldeans, who I grew up with.
Yeah,
they go to where their churches are. And there's not a ton of Chaldeans. I mean, most people are probably listening to this going like, what's a Chaldean? What are you even saying? Outside of Michigan, that you just don't really know. Like Metro Detroit, Michigan even. But it's a Catholic, someone Catholic who's from the Middle East. Mm-hmm. We have a huge population of those around, of Chaldeans around here.
Shitload. Yeah, Chaldean was mostly who I was in school with.
Me too.
Did they have the Albanian bird on their car? The sticker? Was that still a thing?
Oh, yeah. But they all went to St. Thomas in West Bloomfield. And so they all lived around
Harrison.
Yeah. And so, St. Thomas is their church. And so they all, they lived in West Bloomfield and Farmington and Walled Lake. And, that's where they all lived because that's where their church was. So you generally understand. I mean, if you're in this foreign country and you want to be around your people, right? So like it generally makes sense that they all kind of congregate in one area.
And that's not new to the American dream. That was true of Italians and any group that came here from somewhere else. They the Chinese did the same thing. Japanese did the same thing.
I've never heard this. Maronite Catholic, is that Chaldean? Is
that a church? What is that? What is Maronite Catholic? Is that a school, a church?
I don't know. I've never heard that before. Let me Google it. How do you even spell that? Maronite?
I don't know. I would think they'd want to get away from that. But last time I was I was downtown near Belle Isle, and I've talked about it before, but at the beach there, that's Belle Isle, right? There's a beach there. I think I was hanging out at American Coney one day and showing people around, and we went by that zoo and something else, and just driving around. I think it was Belle Isle. I'm so bad with stuff, but there was the beach was open, and there were the women there were like, you'd seen people dressed modestly, and you're like, okay, they're part of that. But this was like the first time I'd seen like just eye slits. That's it. In the water. Like 3 women and a couple kids, and the kids are in normal bathing suits in the water. And the women are like not an ankle showing. And like at the beach, they're the only ones there. It was probably an afternoon, in the middle of summer during the week or something like that. But it was like, wow, this just looks so uncomfortable and so like what you would have been running away from. But whatever.
Well, so Maronite Catholic, it looks like, is it's a specific rite. Like, it's part of the Catholic Church, but it's a specific rite known as the Maronite rite. But it sounds like it's like Lebanese.
When you say rite, what do you mean?
It says Maronite Catholics are part of the larger Catholic Church, but they belong to a specific rite, R-I-T-E, known as the Maronite rite. This means they have their own distinct traditions and spiritual practices while remaining in full communion with the Pope and the rest of the Catholic Church.
So is this like a Protestant versus
yeah, I think it's like Roman sect? Catholic.
Okay, yeah.
Type of thing, but it's not. It's separate from Chaldean, it sounds like. But
what is the news there? Have you? I know you're just locked into Karen Reed. It's kind of interesting. I'd love to know what the press in Metro Detroit, which is such, Dearborn is no bullshit. Like what they think about what Yeah, because I think they voted for Trump.
Well, I was just about to say that. Yeah, I mean, and Albert says most the majority of the Arab population in Dearborn is Christian, and I do know that. I mean, I just mentioned I went to Fortson's prom because I worked at a Leo's Coney Island, and the owner, they're Lebanese, and their son was Lebanese, and so I went to prom with them.
Your chili cheese fries there were so great,
so good,
sorry,
so good. But yeah, so they're majority Catholic there, but I do think that they. That's still their, I think that they did vote for that, I think generally. So, but I'm not totally sure. I'm not, it's not in my algorithm at the moment. But I will try to keep an eye out for it.
It'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out. And it is tonight, the night.
Yeah, tonight's the night.
Yeah. And hopefully it's more bluster and popping off. And these guys sometimes do that and shit talk. Hopefully Trump is, if we're giving him the rope necessary, this is what Trump does. He claims to be this negotiator. Did I expect day one to end this? I don't think it works like that. I think that's more of a statement on priority. So I didn't expect that Russia and Ukraine would wrap up in 24 hours or anything else. I don't think any world leader has that kind of pull. I think it means it's a priority. I do believe there's truth in, if I was president, Russia never would have invaded. There's probably truth to that these things wouldn't have taken off like they did. I could be wrong, but I do believe that. Hopefully Trump is playing a larger game and is not, I don't think he's going to be used by anybody. I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu is getting one over on Trump.
Right.
I don't think that's going on, that he's some cuck for Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah, exactly.
But, time will tell on that. But hopefully this is, there's a larger play here.
I thought he was a cuck for Putin.
Right. So we'll see. One thing that I'm not crazy about, but I do think there's some potential here for people. If you're listening, did you see the Trump mobile phone that was announced?
Like the Obama phone?
Yeah, it's they announced they would a wireless service. I don't know what it is. Haven't we seen this with a bunch of celebrities like Mint Mobile and shit like that? Like,
and don't they all use the same towers?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It just seems, I hate this stuff. This stuff seems so unbecoming of The Office.
I know. It's so cheesy.
It's just cheeseball. There's a history of it with Trump. I thought Trump water or Trump steaks or Trump airlines, all of it was dumb in the day.
It's all dumb.
I'm not in a Trump cult. I've never owned anything that they've put out. But like,
I got a MAGA hat.
Yeah, MAGA hat, that's fine. I got for Christmas a 45-47 American flag hat. I think is kind of cool. I don't know where it is, but I want one of the original. The collector in me wants one of the original red MAGA hats, but it's got to be the right brand and stuff. The company I believe was out of California that made those.
It's got to be the right brand.
It has to, dude.
It must be the right brand.
I don't want to fucking reprint.
Mike doesn't buy a MAGA hat off of Amazon.
Dude, you see my albums up there? Those are the right. I look at the serial numbers to make sure they're the right print from like, don't give me some fucking knockoff
Can't wait for
bullshit.
you to leave me your authentic collection. I'm going to show it so much respect when I sell it.
At least you'd sell it for what it.
I'm gonna be like, you guys, he checked the fucking serial number, okay?
Like
just
holding vinyl up to the light to look at the engraved numbers, like, and going letter by letter to make sure. So there's I was reading this Wired article today, 9 urgent questions about Trump Mobile and the gold T1 smartphone. It just
so cringy.
like, dude, you already won the prize. You're the leader of the free world. Can we put all that shit on the back burner? Let family members sell out, dumb stuff. We've got real things to deal with. But they announced they would soon offer a new wireless service, Trump Mobile, and a golden $499 smartphone to go with it. They say none of it makes much sense. And I was reading this article. It's kind of funny. What exactly is the T1 phone? The Trump Mobile website advertises this and lists a bunch of specs that sound in line with a low-end Android handset. It's apparently got 12 gigabyte of RAM, 256 gigabyte of internal storage, USB-C charging, and so on. Also it's also gold colored, very, very gold. What usually happens in these cases is that a company will put a name on a so-called white label Android handset. That's probably the case here, except for 2 small points. First, the phone on the Trump Mobile website appears to be a render. The camera is shown with no sensors, but the lenses are spaced all crazy, and the volume and power rockers appear in the front view, but not the rear view. Also, another section of the website shows what appears to be a render of an iPhone. Maybe you can look it up. Can you pull up a picture of it real quick, Ames, while I'm going through?
What is it?
It's the T1 smartphone, gold T1 smartphone, Trump Mobile. There's a picture of it. So, yeah, it's probably just an image of a phone they slapped together for this.
Yeah.
The other flag here is that T1 is proudly designed and built in the United States, according to the website, which it says so in the press release. In practice, though, that seems unlikely. We're only aware of one smartphone that advertises itself as wholly U.S. manufactured, the Liberty phone from Purism. It costs about $2,000 and involves a bespoke production process. The idea that the Trump organization would be able to stand up a domestic smartphone manufacturing system from scratch in time to deliver a $500 smartphone by August, when it apparently will become available, is seemingly impossible. So, appearing in an interview on Monday with Benny Johnson, there's the phone. Eric Trump clarified that this claim was aspirational. Eventually, all phones can be built in the United States. Both he and Trump Jr. cited that the company's St. Louis-based customer service centers as its primary U.S. tie. What network does it run on? Well, the press release claims that it works with all 3 major carriers, presumably meaning AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. None of the big 3 responded to an inquiry. That seems a bit odd. Is Trump Mobile woke? The Trump Mobile coverage map clearly identifies the Gulf of Mexico. And he booted the AP for not reporting on the Gulf of America. So
he did, yeah.
It sounds like a lot of copy, cut, and paste, to put together their shit. Can they offer biometric scanning? One of the surprising listed benefits of the T1 smartphone is biometric scanning with contactless blood pressure. So this is the thing on your phones that'll do your heart rate and all that kind of stuff. And you can get Life Vitals featured. It's from Doctegrity app. But that costs like $30 a month to have access to that. And I believe your iPhone has the capability. Who the fuck
is going to do this?
I don't know.
Who the fuck is going to do this? This is so stupid.
So how you would have this included in this phone package that's $47.45 a month, Trump Mobile plan. So this is just a troll, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds like if you have to pay the fee anyways, then it's not really clear what they're promoting here as far as the biometric scanning. Can you get a refund if you're not having? No, you cannot. They aren't clear about that. Yeah, I would say this. Buy it. Do not open it.
Yeah. That would be a good suggestion.
Like, you want anytime you're dealing with stuff, whether it's video games, albums, anything, Gen 1 is what you want. Like if you have an original iPhone still in the box, shrink wrapped, Gen 1, it's worth a shitload of money.
Gen 1
is what you want. So if you can, like the gold, those gaudy as shit high tops Trump's team was selling. Mm-hmm. Now, some of this, I think, was around the time he was facing down potential bankruptcy and hundreds of millions of dollars. They were trying to jail him for 700 years. And I think you could get away with being like, hey, we're raising funds for a potential defense stuff. I would love to have a pair of those gold high top Trump gaudy, ugly shoes. My guess is if you keep those and never wear those, who knows? You could give those to your kids and they're worth a shitload of money someday. This could fall into a category like that. For $500, get one of these phones. Don't even take it out of the shrink wrap, is what I would say.
All right, Mike, make it happen. Leave it to me with the rest of your shit.
Huh?
It's like leave it to me with the rest of your shit.
Yeah, you could have my Beatles Yellow Submarine if I get, dude, if I'm 3 cocktails away from cutting into that thing and getting going and building it. And that you'll just have a built Yellow Submarine behind me, which won't be worth nothing.
Yeah, but you would have built it, Mike, and we will all enjoy remembering that.
Yeah, well, you've got thousands of those in the other room. You can have all those too. You can have my Lego collection, Ames. I hope you have another house.
Thank you.
To house them.
Put it at Kelly's.
Did you see Elon Musk posted drug test results today?
Yeah, I saw that.
He's tested negative for fentanyl, ketamine. Musk shared a photo of the results on X. I don't think I pulled up a picture, but this is what if you care, this is what the test results look like.
Yeah,
looks official. I would think the world's richest man could get fake test results anytime he wants.
Just about to say, like, whatever, but are we gonna, we're acting like the guy can't fucking fake some test results? Come on. He sends fucking spaceships to space. Like, I think he could fake some test results. But I also don't give a fuck if he's taking ketamine. I literally don't care.
I don't really care. There was something really erratic, and I was willing to write off a lot of his kind of behavior as, he's got Asperger's. He's clearly on the spectrum, and those, I dealt with Big E enough to know, and Matt McClowry we dealt with. Like, there's no way around that. They're going to stab a fillet and be like, like, we got to get him on. We have to get Angela on too. We should.
Yeah.
We have to do that. I feel bad I haven't circled back with those guys. But there is something to that. And I believe absolutely Elon, it's diagnosed, I think, about Asperger's. And a lot of his behaviors can kind of be written off that way. So he shared these results with a caption, LOL, weeks after a bombshell report claimed the billionaire was hooked on ketamine, psychedelics, and stimulants throughout his time in the White House. I don't know anyone hooked on psychedelics. Is that even, I know people who take shrooms.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. How am I supposed to know how Elon Musk's brain works? I don't know. Maybe it runs on psychedelics.
So he posted this showing he tested negative for 22 substances just days after his extraordinary war of words with President Trump, who called Elon a big-time drug addict. Well, being called a big-time drug addict is way better than being called a fucking pedophile. Yeah. So I would say Elon started this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way,
But also, why am I supposed to care about what Elon does? He's not involved in the government anymore, is he?
No, it was a special position for 130 days. That was known day one. I do though.
And by the way, Hunter Biden was basically the fucking chief of staff for Joe Biden.
I know.
So don't even talk to me. Don't even
That's
talk to me about it.
That's
yes, it is. You're correct. You're correct.
Dude.
Yes, correct.
Okay. We can talk about
But at least Elon Musk is successful in something. What the fuck has Hunter Biden ever done? He's just he's just a drug addict. Elon Musk at least is a successful drug addict.
Yeah, he's done a few things.
Yeah.
By the way, this people like to dismiss. They used to do this with Would you be like, oh, you have a black friend? And it's like, yeah, that's kind of important. I don't know many fucking racists
who have black friends
who would actually have black friends. That should hold some weight. Yeah. Whataboutism, I don't have a problem with whataboutism. You cannot act like I'm so tired of this, like, oh, again with the whataboutism. Oh, you mean calling you on your absolute
your bullshit,
hypocritical bullshit right now?
Right.
No, stop acting like this is the end of the world when you actually had a drug addict, known drug addict that we're talking about, to your point, serving as chief of staff behind all our backs, essentially. What are we even talking about?
Right. I know.
For Elon Musk, though, posting this, like, you and I had the same thought immediately. Okay, well, that would be pretty easy to fake.
Yeah.
For the richest man in the world.
Yeah, I could fake that, and I'm not the richest man in the world.
Do you think he couldn't give $1 million fucking donation to some clinic and get them to put anything down he wants?
Yeah, I mean, can he just create a fake document? Like, how hard is that?
You would think. He apparently went to...
he probably used Grok.
Oh, wow. So we got report to Jennifer Taylor at Fastest Labs of South Austin, Texas. Elon Musk. It's got his name right there. Elon Musk.
I mean, hey, that's all you need to know. It's got his name.
I will say, though, I have been accused. I was slightly accused at one point. My history's been well documented. And there was a time when someone said to me, hey, did you happen to take some stuff from my jar? And I didn't. I've been very open about what I do. One thing I don't do is steal people's shit. Okay. I've ended up on my own couch in desperate positions, just fucking wailing in agony. I'm not going to steal your shit. It's just kind of a thing. I don't like going in people's business, going in their stuff. I've had people steal from me personally. Set up a video camera and caught someone coming into my house, rummaging through underwear drawers looking for shit. So I know what that feels like. But it was like, hey, did you happen to, it feels like and I was just like, no, are you fucking kidding right now? And it was like, okay, no big deal. I just thought, I literally went online and ordered a fucking drug kit, had it like delivered that day, pissed in it, and had the results sitting there on the counter.
Yeah.
For this individual. Like, I took such offense at it that within an hour, I turned around a drug test.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for Elon Musk, like, you mother... New York Times is going to say I'm doing coke and fucking I'm hooked on shrooms and ketamine and everything else.
Right.
So I know that feeling. Of like,
for sure.
What?
Yeah.
Falsely accused. I've been a piece of shit my whole life. And now when I'm not a total piece of shit, you're going to accuse me?
Right, right.
But Elon, in people's defense, you were acting sort of like a drug addict, showing up with that fucking black eye the day.
What was that all about?
Dude. That's I don't know. I bumped my head on the door, like. Yeah. None of that made sense. No. And then hearing rumblings like he got into some sort of altercation with, was it Scott Bessent?
I didn't
about
hear that.
The big, beautiful bill.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there was something. I wouldn't put it past those guys someone took a shot at him.
Yeah, for sure.
For
sure.
So, I don't know. One of the things that I hope they still focus on, we'll see if Iran turns into a full-blown thing tonight, but 60 people were arrested in Alabama over the weekend. Authorities targeted an illegal cockfighting exhibition. How do we feel about cockfighting?
Like actual cocks?
Yeah. In America, cockfighting.
If it involves animals, Mike,
you don't like it.
I don't like it. Don't show me. I swear to God, if you're showing video, I'm getting off.
Well, I have one video. I don't know if this is what started it. It might be.
Mike?
What? It might be. It's not too disturbing. I think this is what started, but I'm not sure.
You know who I am?
Sí, Steve.
And you know my reputation.
Sí, señor.
And yet you place a bet with me, and you don't have the fucking money to pay.
I'll pay you later, carnal.
Steve does not accept fucking layaway. If you make a fucking bet with Steve, you fucking pay Steve when his fucking cock wins. Do we comprehende?
Sí, señor.
Obviously not. Obviously you don't comprehend. Fuck him up.
What the hell?
Rough his fucking ass up. Check his pockets, Aaron. Search every fucking nook and cranny of that cheapskate.
Nada. I'm gonna cut your fucking dick, and maybe they'll put a fucking smile on your fucking face.
Maybe we will cut this motherfucker's balls off.
You know what? I can cut off your titties.
Don't make him call me, Steve.
Titty, titty, bang, bang.
He will titty titty bang bang you. He will fucking cut your tits off right here.
To him, my donkey. It's all I have.
Fuck your donkey, bitch.
Yeah, fuck that donkey. Why the fuck would I want that thing?
He can carry things, and you can make money with him. Paint him like a zebra and charge gringos.
Charge a who?
The tourists. Take photos.
Honestly, I can't even believe you would look at me and the word gringo would even come to mind.
I think we got a fucking Mexican racist.
Does it make your life easier just to throw a quick racist term at somebody? A man who has seen the things I've seen, experienced the loss and pain that I've experienced. I transcend race, hombre.
You understand, you motherfucker, you fucking cocksucker?
Of course, senor. You are no gringo.
Thank you for acknowledging that. Word of advice. Next time you want to bet on my cock, you better bring some fucking pesos. Got it, S.A.?
I got you, Steve. Gracias.
Gather the jackass and the cock. We're out of here. Come on.
The jackass and the
Let's go.
cock.
I'll grab the fucking...
I love
Yeah.
that show. Such a
It's
great
the
show.
best. It's the
So
best.
good.
Was it offensive to you? Did that bum you out?
No.
So I think that's what led to the cockfighting bust up.
Probably.
You just can't have
Probably.
this stuff going on.
No.
Homeland Security says a total of 60 people were arrested, including 55 illegals, 5 U.S. citizens who have pending charges. 4 illegals are charged with illegal re-entry, so they were shit kicked out of the country and then let back in. This illegal cockfighting operation wasn't just about animal cruelty. It was tied to a broader network of serious crimes, including illegal gambling, drug trafficking, and violent offenses, said Homeland Security investigators in Georgia and Alabama. These criminal enterprises endanger our communities, and HSI remains steadfast in its mission to disrupt and dismantle them. Yeah. I'd start, 55 illegals. You gotta,
Hey, see you later.
I don't want
let the door hit you.
cockfighting in America. I just don't.
No,
I gotta be honest. Like, I respect your traditions, your sports.
we're generally, humane people over here. Okay.
Yeah.
So you came here to like have a better life. We don't fucking fight with roosters or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck they are.
Yeah,
We
they're
don't do that
talons.
here. Yeah,
No. The only cockfighting we want here is a couple gay guys having a sex argument.
exactly. Unless you're involved in docking, that's about as
docking
far as you can go with
Is
cockfighting.
the insertion of one man's glands into the foreskin of another's. For those that don't know. I got to ask you about this too. We had talked about Christina Formella, and I don't have video. There's not really good.
Yes.
Remember her?
The teacher.
She was banging a student.
Yeah, I saw there's an update on her.
So yeah, she's now staring down. She had sex with a teen student. Hot, I know, but we don't have video or anything like that to show you. But she's now staring down dozens of new criminal counts, including sexual assault, aggravated criminal sexual abuse, indecent solicitation of a child, and grooming.
Oof.
She showed up hand in hand with her spouse, Michael, and accompanied by her defense team. They didn't say anything as they walked into court. She's accused of grooming the teen before later having sex with him at least 45 times, including while classes were in session at Downers Grove High and at her home. Yeah. She was initially only charged with 3 criminal counts and pled not guilty to a slew of new charges. She's your textbook toik for anyone.
Textbook toy. Dude,
Yeah.
imagine being like, oh, little Mikey's not in class today because he's banging his hot teacher during class time for the 45th fucking time.
Yeah. High-fiving everybody. So this
everybody
teacher of the year
on the way.
Oh
like
my
just
God. Would you is Michael just like the king of all cucks? Like, it's one thing to have someone cheat. I get it. There are lots of issues in relationships, whether it's marriage or girlfriend, boyfriend. There are lots of reasons that people stray for a period of time.
Yeah.
This whole like banging a 15-year-old like is
and it went viral.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just this like nobody knows about it type of thing and you can deal with it privately. But I mean, God, yeah, don't you have any like pride? I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the crazy shit I'm sure she's making it into, you know, he did this to me and I'm the victim and, you know, and her dumbass husband probably believes it.
He wants to believe that then.
Mm-hmm.
I found it interesting. They were like, husband of teacher stands by her as she faces new accusations, having sex with him 45 times. Is there a difference in 45 times or one time?
To me, 45 seems not as bad because clearly he liked it. And he kept going back, right? Like if it was just once and it was, you know, she drugged him and he passed out and, you know, she took advantage of him or I don't know how that happens, but maybe. But the fact that it was like this ongoing thing.
I mean, let's be honest, 45 times, you can hit that number in the first week. Once you start going at it, it's like it's the new thing.
Yeah.
You can knock out 45 sessions in a month, in a couple weeks. And
how old is this kid?
I don't know. Was he 15 maybe? I don't know. Do we know? Because it's a child, so
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just there's no more radical difference in states of being than 15-year-old girl and 15-year-old boy.
Right.
Or is it like damage done? I'm sorry. Yeah. I know they all lean into the, oh my God, he'll never be the same. But he'll be just.
Yeah, no, he's got a great story to tell.
Oh, the best. It's only going to get better with time too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know,
especially once his nag of a mom gives, like, his mom is making it all way worse.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it was the whole, like, he called her mom thing that really bummed the mom out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're hung up on that. I don't know. What would you do though if you had a kid? Because you don't have a kid right now. I know this would be a different thing if you had a son or a daughter and this was going on. But if you had a son that was 15 right now, like, it's hard to put you in that position. It's hard for me because I don't have a kid of my own and neither do you currently. But if your 15-year-old son and you got wind that, you know, he was just crushing it with his English teacher or fucking whatever teacher at school, would you be like, you son of a bitch, probably shouldn't be doing that, but all right, high five? Or would you be like, you went after my kid, and you'd probably be calling the school?
Yeah, probably. I guess it depends how old he is. And it's different if it's a boy versus a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just have this feeling that really like sent her off into next level. Like, I need to look more into this type of thing.
Yeah. I'm being totally serious right now. If this story popped off if this was me and I found out that my mom found out and she was threatening to call the police, I'd be like, dude, what are you doing? Are you fucking kidding me?
100%. Yeah.
No way. I promise I won't anymore. No. Yeah. Don't, like, for real. If it was my sister though, and it was some 33-year-old poetry teacher, it'd be like, fucking kill him.
Yeah.
Kill him.
Right.
You know, I mean, and I really believe that. My parents would have a conversation like, do we have to? Like, my dad would be kind of like, it's kind of dope. Our kid's crushing the.
Right.
Have you seen her?
Yeah. Do we really want him to go viral over this? I mean, really? You know?
Like, there would be no discussion with my little sister. Like, it would just be you know, you'd have to like restrain my dad from going down and shooting him. And there'd be no question as to whether you're calling the cops or not. But with me, there would probably be some sort of family meeting like, you know, probably not good. We should probably have a stern talk with her.
Yeah.
But, not bad, kid. Proud of you.
Yeah.
How'd you pull that? How'd you do that? She's like 30. What the?
I know.
Dude, she's smoking. Nice job. It's just weird how that is. But anyways, yeah, I don't know if I could stand by my girlfriend.
Yeah, no, I don't think
doing
so.
that.
I don't think so.
Do you want to do a couple emails, or should we do one more?
Sure, Mike. I've actually got a couple messages. I just wanted to share with some people.
Sure.
If you could
I know you're a one-track mind person, especially outside of football season. So, what's happened?
Another great show on the closing arguments. Kept my attention for the 2+ hours. You are well informed on things that I never knew.
Yeah.
I said, well, thank you, sir.
Well,
thank you.
I've heard that too. I'm not surprised by that. We'll get to her. I did want to read one that I got. Let me do a read first. Let me do Forey's read so I don't forget. And then we'll do a couple. Deer Lake Athletic Club in Clarkston offers staycations. I love a good staycation.
Yeah.
With their summer memberships from Memorial Day to Labor Day, seasonal restaurant, poolside grill, serving delicious summer cocktails and yummy meals. Register now for the kids' summer day camp that runs through August 15th. Throughout the year, they have tennis, pickleball, fitness classes, a gym, and pools. The backcourt restaurant inside the Deer Lake Athletic Club is also open to the public with weekly dinner specials. Kids meals for just $5 on Thursdays, live entertainment on the weekend. Visit their website, deerlakeathletic.club.com, for more info about the club, restaurant, and the banquet center. And please do that. Check them out. Great food. I really mean that. And I actually played a little pickleball. It was fun. I played with my mom. She's got
nice.
They've got tennis court. I'm trying to, be a little more active. Like you and I had talked about. Mm-hmm. And my mom loves it. She played tennis her whole life. She loves it. And it was actually pretty cool.
Pickleball's fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
I think I've got to find, I don't know. I don't know anyone here. So I think I've got to find, that might be a good outlet for me to I don't know. Can you join because I've got decent hand-eye coordination. I can't move all that well.
Join a pickleball club, Mike.
Yeah. You think I could do that?
For sure.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I think the tide's turning on, let me do this one first. Totally correct on California being more red than people think. Here in Orange County, Trump is very popular, and I believe the mayor of San Diego is Republican. Yeah. Just LA and San Francisco apparently represent the state. Yeah, and that was from
San Diego's a big
military
area, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just the point that there's more conservatives in California than there are in any other state in the country, and that includes Texas. Yeah. So there's a big, it's why I say the people that are the popular vote, it should only be the popular vote. Careful what you wish for. If you stop disenfranchising California voters, that could go counter to all your thoughts about how elections are done and stuff like that, because there are way more conservatives in California than people think. You just hear so much about the LA and San Francisco, constituency. Couple things. The Whole did a great job on those two shows.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not into true crime, nor do I care about the wrongly accused whore, Karen Reed. I heard from a couple people that are like, dude, it was very listenable. And I knew it would be. And I
appreciate that. I really do. That's nice. Thank you.
No, there's a reason you're sitting there, dude.
I know.
Seriously.
But doing it by yourself is a little bit different.
Yeah, it's hard. I listened to both shows. And by the way, her levels were outstanding. No blowing out of my eardrums, which was nice.
Good.
You come to Detroit and don't set up a meet and greet with cult members, but instead hang out with Drew Lame's friend, Kirk Gibson. Wow, we see where your priorities lie. You know what?
It's a valid point.
Yeah, it is. I've got my Drew Lane shirt on here. Drew gave me that when I was there.
Oh, that's nice.
There is a work element. First off, I was planning to do those shows regardless. That I was going there in part to do a couple shows with Drew. So I wasn't going to bail on that responsibility. And there's a lot of people listening to that show.
Yeah.
So there's...
And Mike wanted to hang out with Mark. Just cut some slack.
Hang out with Mark.
Yeah.
And the Kirk Gibson thing, I love having news stories in my stuff, like groping the babysitter when I was 10, getting titties under the bra of a 16-year-old. Like, that's great. It probably scarred me sexually for life, but whatever, it was worth it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you should hang out with Kirk Gibson.
Yeah, totally. And you never know where that stuff's going to lead. That's why it's important to go to Dallas and do Normal World and get introduced to other audiences. And, I promise you, next time I come to Detroit, it will be with more forward thinking, and we'll 100% do some sort of get together. Maybe we do it at Deer Lake Athletic Club, where they've got plenty of space. It's just kind of a hike. That was the thing I was debating on, because I've done that to people before, where it's like, you guys got to drive a fucking hour because,
people drive to see you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, maybe. But
my dad lives like right across the street, so I can come see him on the way to the Deer Lake Inn or whatever.
Yeah, bring him by.
Yeah, I will. Well, I don't know how much fun he'd be. Might smell.
Yeah.
Might be just a bag of bones. He's been in there for a while.
I got you. But anyways, you said you did a great job, and he doesn't care about that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Roops Gilbert can eat E's bag of dicks. Any dog. Oh, Gilbert, the dog that got shot. Okay. He spelled Roops, Roupes, like it's a Rupel. Roops is Roops.
Yeah.
Roops, look at that Roops. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Gilbert was a great guy and a beautiful guy. Wanted to be everyone's friends. That Roops Gilbert was a good guy. Can eat E's bag of dicks. Any dog worth his salt wouldn't tolerate living with a libtard set of parents. He should have ran away a long time ago. He didn't, and it got him killed.
Aww.
Sorry to hear about Pat. That's terrible. I'll add her to my prayers. Thank you. I appreciate that. She's gonna be great. And then sends this one. Here's the silver lining. These two bit it, and their wellness clinic. And he sends a picture of these guys that were on board.
I saw that. They were on the plane from India to London.
Yeah.
And they recorded a video in the airport. They're like, we're boarding our plane home. These two gay guys.
Yeah, a couple of gay guys. They ran a spiritual wellness center in Kent, filmed themselves laughing and joking at the airport just moments before boarding the plane. The former editor of The Morning has paid tribute to Fiongal, who appeared on the show earlier this year, and his partner, Martin Frizzell, said on Instagram, I remember his visits to the studio. He was passionate about auras. And although I'm skeptical sort, his vibrancy and sheer enthusiasm won folk over. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Enough of the aura people.
Yeah.
Anyway, Walters at DetroitCast.com. Send your emails. Thank you, Ames.
Yeah. Hey, thanks.
And we'll follow this Iran thing as we go. And you're on Karen Reed Watch. So
I am on Karen Reed Watch. Hopefully tomorrow is the day. We shall see.
What do you think? 50-50 shot, 70-30?
Oh, I think it's
90-10?
100% she's not guilty on counts 1 and 3. I think at this point,
I think they admitted that.
It's 50-50 if they hang on count 2 or not. I think, depending on which would be unfortunate if they're just hanging on the DUI. So,
petty. It sounds petty to me. But no, I mean, what are your percentages on whether or not we find out the jury is done deliberating and we get a verdict tomorrow? Because I think it's.
I think there'll be one. I think there'll be a verdict tomorrow.
Yeah.
I really do. I really do.
Okay.
Because court is off Thursday, and I think they're just going to want to be done.
Yeah.
For Juneteenth, they've got the day off. So.
Oh, is that Monday?
No, it's Thursday.
Oh, this Thursday. Yeah, June 19th.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll call it a day there, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.